Have you ever felt that God was standing between you and the life you wanted? Maybe you've been praying for an opportunity, a relationship, a business, a promotion, a dream you've been holding for years. And instead of doors opening, it seems like they've been closing. And if we're honest, there are moments where it feels like God is saying no, when all you're asking for is something that seems good. But what if we've misunderstood what's happening? What if God isn't fighting the dream? What if He's fighting everything in you that would keep the dream from becoming a blessing? Because here's the reality. Sometimes we're focused on what we're asking God to do around us that we miss what He's doing within us. The greatest delay in our lives isn't always timing. Sometimes it's transformation. So here's the question I want us to wrestle with today. What if God isn't delaying the dream, but developing your heart? What's going on, my curious and intellectual people? Welcome back to Intrigue and Insights, where deep conversations meet everyday life, looking beyond the obvious to uncovering meaning, challenge assumption, and find wisdom in places most people overlook. I'm your host, Terrence Tyler, and today we're exploring a question that challenged me personally. God isn't fighting your dream. He's transforming your heart. Now let's get into this thing. The crazy thing about it is that it wasn't until I got out. Well, you know what? I can't say got out because I haven't even made it out of it yet. I'm on my way and on the verge to getting there, but I just become aware of it. And now I'm starting to take the intentional steps with this awareness to do what is necessary to thrive. And what I mean not getting out of, I mean survival mode. So I became aware in survival mode. 2 consecutive jobs where I attempted to be into leadership. I didn't get disproved, but I was on the wait for it. But really, what seemed like the door was closing on me, it was really a redirection. Because after staying and observing the whole culture of these 2 environments, I'm like, this is not the place to be. And then with another one, I was like, this is not even the type of money I want to end with. And how much effort and loyalty and dedication would I have to put in years too, can't forget that, in order for me to accomplish my end goal of the type of income that I want to be inside my house before I retire. And it didn't meet those goals. It didn't meet the goals of the time I wanted to retire, the money that I wanted, and the type of work that I wanted to put in. I'm not going to put it out there where it was or anything as far as how it is, because that's not the important part. The important part in it is, in the midst of it, I came to realize that God was trying to develop something in me, not to bring to the table at this place, but something that I was going to need for the dream that He was working out in my life. And that was transforming my heart, my relationship perspective, my work perspective, the different type of personalities that people have and how to treat them, and the value to place on an individual, treating them as an asset rather than a liability. So I witnessed this myself into realization that, you know what? this is not all about me getting to level up on the outside. It's more about me leveling up on the inside. Man, my eye red. I think my allergy is acting up. I really feel like scratching it, but it's irritating the mess out of me. I'm not gonna touch it though. Y'all, I wish this was live. Y'all could tell me, keep your hands out your eyes. Ooh, doo-doo, doo-doo. Okay, let me stop. I told y'all this microphone be making me want to sing. Anyways, let's get back to the podcast. My bad. Have you ever felt like God was standing between you and your dream? Well, maybe he's not standing in the way. Maybe he's preparing you for the dream. So for the long run, he's basically trying to prepare the back that's going to be carrying this dream and the responsibilities that are attached to it. Because see, we might think that we're ready and prepared for it. But if the weight of this dream is heavy, you need a back strong enough to carry it. I witnessed this in multiple places, but I also witnessed irritation in I also witnessed irritation in both of these places of a phrase that's saying, carrying the team on my back. And it's basically because of my belief system of the amount of effort that each person should place in the workplace, especially when you're getting paid for it and they're not doing it. And the person has to pick up the slack of it, but yet not being appreciated, I guess you could say, or given the type of appreciation for doing it. It's like it was your responsibility. And in a sense, when we see it, it's not our responsibility at this job. But when we looking in the lens of the dream of what God is trying to do for us, it is our responsibility to him as far as him trying to strengthen the back that's about to carry what's coming. I had to realize that. And now I'm so free mentally, emotionally, but yet right back focused on the goals. Why does it feel sometimes like every door is closing? Closed doors don't always mean rejection. Sometimes they mean redirection. So does it mean that God wants the dream too? Yes, absolutely. But more so, he wants your heart ready for it. So if God gave me the dream, why is it taking so long? Because God's timing isn't about delivering the promises. It's about developing the people. Before we assume that God is withholding something good, maybe we should ask a different question. What if the delay is not punishment? What if it's preparation? Why do we assume that delays means God is against us? Because we measure God's love by timing. And not to mention, humanly speaking, we're prone to instant gratification. We have that it's my money and I want it now concept. We think that success means getting somewhere that we want to be tomorrow. We miss the transformation, the formation stage, the process, and the journey that it takes in order for us to patiently wait for the things that we really want and we want to achieve. It takes time to do this. Many of the greats will be able to tell you that. That as a matter of fact, they probably failed more than they succeeded. But it only took one success in order for them to achieve that goal. But they never quit. They kept going. Love isn't always shown by giving us what we want quickly. Sometimes it's shown by preparing us wisely. Let's think about a good parent. And I say good parent for a reason. Not saying that there's bad parents out there, but there are ignorant ones that just didn't have the understanding, the education, and the wisdom to instill with their child. But I can definitely tell you that it was perfected for what God needed each individual to see and to understand and to learn from. But anyways, a good parent understands personalities, and each child have their own personality. And they train that child up according to their structure, their bent, their personality, their personhood. And with that, they would do to the child and for the child what is appropriate for them that would build up the traits inside of them in order for them to be great. God is the same way. But as all-knowing, knowing the full extent of the heart, allows us, good and bad, to go through life experiences. And with his mercy and grace, his hand placed on us, structures us in a way that we are able to grow greatly. But only when we are humble and able to accept the lessons that he's trying to teach us. You know how I learned that concept? I learned it in the beginning stage of my walk with God. I tell y'all this all the time. Who I am today and the things that I know today is rooted in my relationship with Jesus Christ. Period. Spending years of relearning, unlearning first, but then relearning, recreating the mindset, and reestablishing old patterns for new ones in Christ really restructured my whole entire life. But anyways, I learned this from the concept that I grew up in the hood. I exercised many good traits wrongfully, but yet they were still developed. They were still exercised. And the moment when I gave my life to Christ and aligned them up with his will, it felt like I've been doing it for years. Because I have. I've been doing it the wrong way. But once I transitioned to the right way of doing it, it was like a quick fix. But it still was a 20-some year process. Big facts. So understanding this helped me to understand the factor that, hey, God is sovereign enough to allow us to do things on our own will and way, but still his goodness and strength and wisdom can utilize the good that we use wrongfully to build us up for perfection. Look at Paul. Paul's life, you can definitely see that when he stopped persecuting the church and started living and receiving the gospel and started living out the gospel, He did magnificent work. Wrote 13 books of the Bible, New Testament. Check it out. Anyways, can receiving something too early be dangerous? Absolutely. 1000%. A blessing without maturity can become a burden. If a person doesn't know how to manage their money and you give them a bunch of money, what do you think they're going to do with the money? Why do you think people that make millions of dollars go broke? We see it every day, all day long. A lot of these rappers, a lot of these celebrities, they done made lots of money and been given tons of credit. But with summer, when they stop doing something productive, when they stop bringing in some type of funds or income, or stop working for that company that was paying them, they go bankrupt. And why is that? It's because their money management skills sucked. They were given success without the maturity and the understanding of what it takes to carry that success. We see it many times. So it's important to understand that. To develop first the maturity, the mindset, the heart, the attitude of what success is and how to carry it in order to do it and to have it. Here's some examples of it. Influence without humility. Imagine somebody that's influencing you and they're not humble enough. They're prideful. What you gonna see in them? Just think about it. Just think about somebody that you know that has some great influential and motivation characters, but just turn you off because of the way that they treat you. Success without character. We see it all the time. Look at your job. Look at the leaderships that's there. Some of y'all, look at your church. Look at the leadership that's there. Some of y'all are turned off from these things, not because of it as a whole, because of the leadership of the people that's given. They have been giving success without the character. That means they don't know how to treat you right. We complain all the time about the politics, but are we learning from these people's examples? Because that's one thing that taught me when I was growing up. I learned lessons from the old fool, even though I practice a lot of those things myself. But after having to test it out myself, I really did. I just didn't have the wherewithal in order to keep being disciplined in it. I fell short of it. Yeah, that's my cowardice side. Yeah, I was a coward by becoming in the street life anyway. Instead of being victimized, I became a victimizer. That's what you call a coward. Yeah. Opportunity without wisdom. So, what is God protecting? Sometimes he's protecting the dream. Sometimes he's protecting you. But often, he's protecting both. Because if you have the dream and you have the talents, he is preparing you for some people that specifically need you, that is experiencing what you experience, that can hear your story and understand your verbiage, that's going to help them. The dream is his dream because his dream is he uses people as his hands and feet to help other people. So he wants to protect that. But at the same time, he wants to protect you from ruining yourself because he loved them both, including the people that you're going for. So you may be asking, why is the heart such a big deal? Because whatever fills your heart directs the course of your life. So maybe the question isn't, when is God going to bless me? Maybe it's, who is he preparing me to become? What is God actually transforming? Your character, not just your circumstances. I remember years ago, even before I went to prison, I was a young man then. I was like in my early 20s. I realized that phrase that you could take the person out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the person. Well, I get the phrase anyway. That is not true. Everybody can change. It just shows that the mentality of the individual is still the same. So no matter where you put them, they're going to act the same way as a hood person. And this helped me realize this transformation in our heart over our circumstance perspective with God. When I moved to a different state in Texas to get away from an unhealthy environment and lifestyle that I was living at that particular time, I end up going to this city and bringing it along with me. For somehow, there was somehow I linked up with the people that I needed to basically build my clientele. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Is what I did. I just found a area to work it out, had clientele potential, and I just got the product and I served the clients and it grew. So it took the same thing. So you took me out the hood. Well, because the hood was still in me, I didn't have that transformation in my heart yet. I just brought it right to the same city I was at. Same thing that goes with our transformation. Same thing that goes with our dream. This is what God is trying to do, because if not, the person that you were before the dream was established and given to you, you destroy. Why does character matter so much? Because our character determines what success will do to you. If you are a narcissist and you become successful, you just have more people to influence your narcissism. If you are an addict and you become successful, you just have more resources to be addicted to. So, can God use gifted people with poor character? Absolutely. He can. He does it every day. We see it all the time, which is why we have a distortion between what success actually is. Because when we see that there's so many successful people are horrible, and so many people that climb to the top stepped on everybody on the way up there, use them as third masters, we get a false perception and distorted view of what it looks like to be successful. Because those gifts can open up the door, but the character can't keep it. We don't know how much and how often people have been terminated, abandoned, rejected, denied because their character did not develop for the level of success. Those gifts, they opened that door. But the character that they had that got that door open couldn't keep the door open. It eventually closed on them. So what happens while we're waiting? The waiting is training. And what are we training for? We're training for more responsibility. We're training for influence. We're training for greater dependence on God. If we can't be loyal, faithful, trustworthy with something small, how can I expect you to do it with something huge? If you give a 5-year-old $50, what do you think that 5-year-old is going to go do with that $50? Now, if I give you $50, what do you think you're going to do with that $50? Because I can tell you, in my early teens, late teens, early 20s, I prioritized smoking over eating. I would take my last $5, use 4 of it in order to get the marijuana, the dollar to get the cigars to wrap it with, before I would put some food in my belly. And do you really want to know why? Because I know that there was some good people in the world that was going to feed me regardless. What does that tell you about my character? As a child, I didn't prioritize what was important. I took advantage of people's kindness and consideration. I did not love to be healthy or even love myself to want to put what is best for me over what was just making me emotionally feeling good. So how can we recognize or tell when God is working? Ask yourself, am I becoming more patient, more humble, more faithful, more loving? And if the answer is yes, then God is working. And it's not becoming more of all of these things. It can just be becoming one, because that's what the process is. Just becoming one thing at a time. It can be multiple though. There's no limit to it. But when you see something that is being better or becoming better in you, that means he is working. Stay in the process. And this changes everything. Because instead of asking, why is God making me wait? We're asking, what is he producing in me while I wait? So, should I stop pursuing my dream? No. No. Don't do that. Just stop pursuing the dream more than you're pursuing God. And why is that more important? Because everything you put above God becomes your God. It's an idol. Something that you serve and worship to fulfill that need that really it won't. The moon god. I'm not even going to go there. I guess I am. The god of money, the god of alcohol, the god of success. All of these, they're really not the god of. They're just what they are. They're success. God is sovereign and the one who has control over it in his hand. And he is mastering and allowing and placing it in the palms of those to succeed according to his purpose. Not because he thinks that they're worthy or that it's work. It's definitely because he is making a point. Because I've learned a lot of lessons from a lot of people of success. Mainly some that's from the Bible, such as David, Solomon, Isaac. A lot of this toxicity, this family curses that we have, they didn't start with your family or your cousin's family or your friend's family. They started with those that's in that Bible. Can a God-given dream become unhealthy? Yes. When your identity is attached to achieving the dream more than trusting God through it, it becomes unhealthy. What's the real good then? It's building the character, the identity, the behavior mannerisms to become the type of person that can steward the dream well. So the process matters. Absolutely. The process matters more than anything because sometimes the process is the miracle. You know why? Because it's changing you. The greatest miracles I ever seen in my life was not an instant, mystical, magical trick happening. Not saying that God does not perform miracles, but I'm just saying that it's not much emphasis on it as we think. What I am saying is that in my life, what I experienced, there was a miracle happening inside of me. Why? All the habits and the money that I used to spend on those habits and no longer doing so, a miracle has happened in my bank account. It has happened in my house. It has happened in my refrigerator because now I can have furniture because I'm not spending all of my millions because I was a millionaire before. If I calculated how much weed I smoked, how much drink I drank, how many cups of ice and sodas and cigars that I had to purchase in order to fulfill this habit, I've been a millionaire. But the miracles came with those internally because I have changed the habits that I once threw down the toilet, basically, because they only gave me instant gratification away. And now a miracle is here. I can live like a kingpin because I changed my priorities. I don't even smoke weed anymore, but I'm definitely going to put food before one. I'm just saying. So I guess that fits in that category because I eat a lot and I don't smoke at all. Just imagine. I used to do 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Let's do the math. So, pulling up my little calculator right here. And that's just the cigarettes. I'm just going to just do the cigarettes. I'm not going to do everything else. So, at that time, I don't even know what cigarettes cost right now. But at that time, they were $6, $7 a pack, depending on where you go. So that's $14. $14 a day. Okay. And 56 days in a year. That's almost $5,000. $4,984. And I did that for, man, I don't even know how many years I did it. I was a teenager when it started, like 17, till I went to prison, of course, which was 28. So that's 11 years times 11. It equals $54,824. That's a lot of money. And that's just that. That's not including everything else. So when we have that, and then we have everything else, we see that there was a lot of money that I was just throwing away. But I'm praying to God to make me a millionaire. And here all along, he's been making me. He already gave me millions with the money that I was getting at that particular time. And he was showing me that this is what you're doing with it. So you actually want me to literally take $1 million and put it in your hand when over the years you have been wasting millions of dollars. That was a miracle for me to leave that alone. It's one I seen in my life. And you can too. What if God didn't say no at that time? What if it was just not right now? Because he answers with yeses. We know those well. He answered with no's, but it's really something that is detrimental to your life. But when it comes to promotions, dreams, relationships, financial growth, such things such as that, maybe it's a not right now. That means every delay becomes an invitation to grow instead of a reason to quit. So, how to stop resisting the process and start embracing it? Start trusting God while you're in the waiting. Focus on today's obedience instead of tomorrow's outcome. And what should you ask yourself? What is God trying to do in me right now? And instead of asking, when would I get there? Start asking, who am I becoming on the way? And how do you know when your heart is changing? When peace is more powerful than your urgency. Because that's me right now. Even though I'm uncertain of which path is actually going to manifest the dream that I have inside of me, I'm still taking one step, one action towards this direction to see which one I'm going to land in and which door that's going to literally open. And I'm at peace. It's not that it needs to hurry up and get here. It's not that I need to get this done quickly before this time comes, so that way I can walk through that door when it opens. It's just me preparing myself, becoming better, and realizing that I want to make sure that when the doors do open, I'm ready for it. So what's another sign? You stop chasing validation and you start pursuing faithfulness. And I'm only saying this because it happens to me a whole lot. What if I get discouraged? Remember, delay isn't proof that God forgot you. It's proof that He's still preparing you. As we finish today, I want to leave you with one thought that has challenged me over and over again. What if the greatest miracle isn't finally getting what you've been praying for? What if the greatest miracle is becoming someone who can carry it with wisdom, humility, and faith? Because dreams can change your circumstances, but only God can transform your heart. And if He transforms your heart, He changes the way you lead things, the way you love, the way you serve, the way you handle success, the way you endure disappointment. Maybe God isn't standing between you and your dream. Maybe He's walking beside you, forming the person your dream has been waiting on. So this week, I want to let you sit with one question. If God answered every prayer that I prayed today, will my character be able to steward the answer? If the answer is yes, then praise God. If the answer is no, don't be discouraged. Transformation isn't punishment, it's love. Thank you for joining me on Intrigue and Insights, where deep conversations meet everyday life. If today's conversation has encouraged you, share it with someone who's wondering why God seems silent or why waiting feels so long. God's greatest gift isn't always giving you what you want when you want it. Sometimes His greatest gift is shaping you into the person who can receive it without losing yourself and definitely without losing Him. Remember, clarity doesn't come from easy answers, but from the courage to ask the hard ones. So stay curious, stay open, and keep looking deeper. Grace and peace to you.